Angelo. When you learn, teach, and when you get, give. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Verdel Jones. I'm your host, Verdel Jones. And being an educator at heart, I'm dedicated to sharing conversations that both inform and enlighten in the hopes that you learn something you may not have known. I am so excited. We have a great show coming to you today. As you see, I have some books displayed. We have Nichole Martin, the author, here. She's going to be talking about her books, and she's also going to be talking about a serious subject having to do with domestic violence. So we're going to be talking about that. Before we get started, though, I wanted to just share a couple of things. You know what? This summer has been an awesome, awesome summer. Usually what happens is I set up my summers where, I get the fun book. Anybody who's from Long Island knows what the fun book is from Newsday. And I kind of circle things I want to do and highlight, and then I never do them. But this summer, I really have had an awesome, awesome summer. We celebrated my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and we had an awesome party that we threw for them. They were surprised and excited, and, I went all out. I had these fancy hors d'oeuvres, and I went a little crazy. I like to create an event, and that's what I did, and it was so much fun. And we got to honor them, and I think it's so important for us to honor those who take care of us and whom we love. And I had that experience me and my family being able to give them a party. My dad wanted a party, my mom didn't, so we had something real intimate, with 50 people, their closest friends and our family, and we just had a great time. So I just wanted to share that because my summer is going so awesome. I also got to go to the wineries out east. I went to a restaurant out there that I wanted to get to. It was in Riverhead. It was like a farmhouse kind of thing, so that was fun. We got to go to the city. Jeremiah treated me to a Broadway show. We saw Summer, and it was the story of Donna Summer, which was, it was amazing, so I was happy about that. So we've just been doing, we actually got to go to the beach this summer with the kids. I've been hanging out with them, hanging out with Jeremiah, hanging out with my family and my friends. And I also wanted to let you know that we had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. to the Smithsonian African American Museum. We had to get tickets to go to the museum ahead of time. But and I wanted to let everybody know, starting in September, you will not need a ticket during the week. You could go in and see if you can, gain admission. So they're changing it up a little bit because it only used to be you had to have a ticket, a reserved ticket. The museum was absolutely amazing. I think it's something that everybody should see. It's such a, our history, African American history is such a rich part of the American experience. It is the American experience, and I would encourage everyone to go see it. However, you need at least 2 or 3 days to see the whole museum. We only saw the first 3 floors out of 6. So you want to make sure that you spend some time, a couple of days, a few days to get to see everything. So hopefully we'll be going back in September and we'll get to see the next 3 floors. But it was just a great experience. And again, I would encourage everybody to see that. There was a special, there was an Oprah section, so she had a whole display. It was just Oprah. So I was, of course, geeking out because, Oprah is awesome. So I got to see that, and that was a lot of fun. But just the rich history. There's things in there that you never ever knew about. I know a few things, but there's some things that you may not even know happened here on American soil having to do with African Americans. So please, I encourage everybody to go see that museum. And the best thing about it is it's free. A lot of museums in Washington, D.C. are free, and Washington, D.C. is one of the most amazing cities for you to visit. The monuments and the history, it's just a great place. So anyway, make sure you check that out. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is we have Nichole Martin coming up. She's going to be here in a second, in a couple minutes. She participated in our Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective, which was a great event. She was one of the authors that participated. In addition to our authors, we had some authors a couple weeks ago here. We also had students that won scholarships. We gave away $3,250 worth of scholarships to in total for 3 students, and we are going to do it again next year. So I just wanted to let everybody know that our Write, Rhyme, Recite Collective is happening next year. So we are going to get those applications out to students. It's going to be around the same time in June for them to actually recite their poems for the contest, and we'll have authors as well. I love the combination of the students and the authors at the event, so stay tuned for that, because we're going to have some fundraising going on. We have to raise these funds so we can give money, scholarships to these students. So just keep that in mind. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is we just launched our Facebook page, Miyamar Productions, Miyamar Productions, and we're going to be creating videos for individuals, authors, speakers, business owners. So if you have a brand and or service or product that you want to promote via a video, we're going to be doing that for you. The intro that I have, we created that intro. You know, it's a family affair. Marcus is our editor. Maya is our script writer. Jeremiah he's responsible for the voiceovers and the music, and you know, I coordinate everything. So if you know of anybody who wants a video, or yourself wants a video to promote your business, brand, product, or service, you can, you know, all my contact information is available. You can check that out. The last thing before we go to a quick break and we have Nicole come on is I wanted to make sure that I showed Danielle's contact information. Danielle Gaspard was supposed to be here today, but unfortunately she couldn't. And I wanted to make sure that we shared her contact information. She wrote a book in reference to credit and how to repair your credit. And we all know that is an important topic. So I want to make sure that if anybody is interested or knows somebody who may be interested in repairing their credit or getting information about what to do and how to have good credit or to maintain your credit, you can contact Danielle Gaspard about that. She was also one of the Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective participants that we had in June. So I want to make sure that I give her a shout out, and you guys you know, can take a look at that information. So as I said, we have Nichole Martin coming to the studio. She's here. I'm very excited to talk to her. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break, and this is also one of the videos that Miyamar Productions put together.
With more than 30 years of administrative and office management experience, Marshall Management Group can provide you with the support for your business remotely or virtually. So what type of services do we provide through virtual assistants? We offer general administrative support, from scheduling appointments to handling correspondence and organizing emails. We also provide time-saving data entry services and typing and word processing support. We can edit and organize your existing material, but if you need help with creating and managing content, we can organize and develop newsletters, PowerPoint presentations, emails, blog posts, and social media content, and schedule updates. Would having a personal assistant save you time planning business trips? Marshall Management Group can help you with that as well. We also provide internet research, event and seminar planning, and bookkeeping services. Marshall Management Group's virtual assistant service gives you the benefit of no employer-related taxes paid, no benefit packages to buy, no personal leave, and we give you the option to use services on an as-needed basis. For more information on our virtual assistance services, go to info@marshallmanagementgroup.com or call us at 301-350-4465.
Welcome back. As you can see, I have Nichole Martin here with me. Thank you so much for joining Conversations with Verdel Jones. We're happy to have you. So I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about you. So Nichole Martin, she's a native New Yorker, born and raised in the East Flatbush section of Brooklyn, New York in the early 1970s. She grew up as she was growing up, writing was one of her favorite academic courses, and now as an adult, she's sharing messages with the world via her creative writing. As you see, she has a series of books. I'm going to be talking about that, so I'm excited. Nicole feels many will be able to relate to her urban fiction series, Venomous Minds, especially millennials. Each volume has its own message. First love, teen pregnancy. Oh, that's a good one. First love, teen pregnancy, STDs, drugs, and the absentee father situation. Not only is she an author, but she is an advocate for domestic violence awareness. And in her fifth novel, Venomous Minds 5, Nothing But the Truth, is sure to capture your attention. Today, the survivor expresses herself with no regrets. She is a force to be reckoned with and is an inspiration for many. So, as I was, we talked off set, and I was saying off camera, thank you so much for sharing your story. And we're going to get into that a little bit. It's such a serious topic. But you sharing your story is an inspiration and a benefit to others going through the same thing. And even those who are not, to get a better understanding of what domestic violence actually is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me about your books, the Venomous Minds series. We have them all displayed here. There is, as you see, we have all of them up there. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect in these books.
Okay, you can expect the honest truth. This book actually was written, I would say, 16 years ago.
Wow.
My third child, he was 1 when I completed it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I set out to publish it, I reached out to reputable publishing companies, which charge astronomical fees, and they were like, who are you? Why should we even publish your book?
Right. Let me just ask you a question about that, because some people don't know the process of getting a book, your manuscript, what you've written, to the publisher. So you went to, some people just think, oh, they're going to pick up my book, and I'm going to get paid a signing bonus or whatever, and then we'll all be good. So explain a little bit about that, because people really don't know what that process is.
What I remember is you have to submit your manuscript the way they.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll give you like an itemized whatever for you to follow, and if it's not submitted the way they want it to be, they'll discard it. They won't even look at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even the content might be good, but it's just not the way that they want it.
And they say it.
Right.
They say it. Your book, it may be very well written or whatever the message.
Yeah.
Maybe what we are looking for, but because you submitted it improperly, they won't even look at it.
Wow.
And that's it. And you only get one time.
Right. One shot.
One shot. One shot deal.
Right. So how did you eventually, and you were saying that this was one book. So there's 5 books here. You wrote it as one book. So how did you finally get it to be published?
I met this young lady on Facebook.
Okay.
Some years ago, and she said, I can help you with it.
Okay.
So, and that's how, actually it was the four books, that was one. This came well after.
Oh, okay, so it was the 4 books, got it, okay.
But she said, it's, Nick, your book is so large, we're gonna have to break it down.
Right.
I think that would be in your best interest, so this is how it became 4 novels.
Okay. So she was able to take your manuscript and make sure that it was in a form that would be...
And it would properly flow.
Exactly, because that's so important when you're talking about the books. So each book is about a different topic.
Right.
And you, as I said with your intro, first love, teen pregnancy, STDs, drugs, and absentee father situations. Do all of the books contain that information, or it's broken out into different categories, kind of?
It is.
Okay.
It is. And like I said, it has to properly flow. So the first book, it starts out from the beginning of the characters, lifestyle. The absentee father portion of it is in the first volume, yes. And then it just continues on down.
Okay. Now, is she the character? What's the character's name again? She has a nickname.
Nichole.
Okay, Nichole.
Nichole.
And is she in this book as well?
She is, but then there's a twist to the end.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about this because this kind of ties in the topic that we wanted to really dive into, dealing with domestic violence. So I just want to put up a couple of statistics in reference to domestic violence. And some of them, all of them, not some of them, all of them are very alarming. You know, every 9 seconds in the U.S., a woman is assaulted or beaten. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been victims of physical violence by an intimate partner. Women ages 18 to 34 are at greatest risk of becoming domestic violence victims. So if you look at those statistics, the numbers are, you know, they're staggering. They're right, they're alarming. In a lot of situations, and as I was sharing with you before, I had a woman on my show, Michelle Medina, who wrote a book, When It's Time to Let Go, about her experience with domestic violence. And as I was talking to her, I mean, I was almost in tears because when I read the book, I had a different perception. But then when I actually talked to her and really, you know, could touch her and understand what she went through, it really moved me. And I just couldn't thank her enough for sharing her story, you know, with the world, basically. Right. And again, I'm going to thank you again because it's so, because women suffer in silence. So just, you're a survivor.
Yes, I am.
Yes. So who was your abuser? How did this even happen?
Well, I met an individual and we dated for a little time. And I thought he was a great individual.
Right.
Well, he seemed to be, you know, someone that I would move on further my life with. But things changed,
right,
obviously, because things that I didn't know or see in the beginning, I learned not too long after.
Right, right. What, as you said, when you first met this individual, knight in shining armor, so to speak, were there any early signs when you were dating? Because, you know, really were there any early signs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I chose to ignore it. Yeah.
Right. And what were some of those signs that early on?
Well, one, for whatever reason, his mother, when I did meet her, first he didn't really want me to meet his mother.
Okay.
And it was like, he always gave me an excuse as to why I shouldn't enter his residence, you know? And it was either mommy sleeping or, you know, it was always an excuse.
So he was living with his mother?
Yeah.
At that time, okay.
And when I did enter the home, like, he would, like, rush me or hide me into a room. And I'm like, why are you hiding me, you know? But then later on, when I found out that he was married.
Oh. Okay.
So,
wow.
And I guess she got the impression that I was pushing myself on him because she actually approached me one day in a very, how can I say, ill-mannered,
right,
you know, way. And
disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Right.
And I'm like, where's this coming from?
Right.
And he was like, just drive off. And I'm like, no, I want to know why.
Right.
And it all came out, you know, but it came out in the worst way.
Right.
Yeah, and then after I started to get calls from, you know, the spouse, which was in another country.
Oh my goodness.
And I got calls from everywhere, and I was like, what in the world? Like, you know, but it was more to it even before that because, you know, he was doing a lot of things. What he did was, I guess, he scoped out the area and thought to himself, yeah, that's a good catch.
Right.
So let me do what I have to do in order to make my moves and
secure this.
And exactly. Right. I was just going to say a secure spot.
Right, exactly. Wow, wow. So that's early on. There was some, and it's really doing, I guess, things behind your back or not telling the whole truth.
That's what it is.
Right, yeah. So that was kind of a sign. You also talk about the phases of domestic violence. Can you go a little bit, because I think it's so important for people to understand, I'm looking at this person, I'm meeting this person, what phases may I go through if this person is a domestic violent, abuser.
Well, they'll treat you like a queen or king,
Right.
because it goes both ways.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of women that abuse men as well.
That's right.
But they'll say whatever they know you want to hear and treat you the way they know you want to be treated.
In the
so
beginning.
That's in the beginning.
Right.
And once they've captured you, then it's like, okay, well, what are they going to do? Where are they going to go? I have their heart.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the hardest part.
And then once they have that, then they manipulate you and do whatever they can do to keep you in that position. And if you have children,
it makes it even
worse.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So, at what point did you? I mean, I and I'm making assumptions, but you can let me know. Did it get progressively worse, and were there different types of abuse? Because you hear domestic violence, there's physical, there's mental,
verbal.
Right. So how did that manifest itself, and how did that progressively get worse and worse?
I would say mine started out verbally.
Right.
And I would ask, like, why are you saying that? Like, what did I do to you to make you speak to me in that tone? And, he would just brush it off and like, well, you know what you did.
Right.
Because there's a lot of, it's like they have a manuscript out there, and these individuals read it, and because they all act the same way.
Yeah.
Like women that I've spoken to.
Right.
It's the same,
It's
they
so
say
true.
the same thing.
It's so true.
So, and then the first thing they'll say is, you did it. And
everything's on you.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And here you are, like, wondering, what did I do? Well, whatever I did, you do your best not to do it again, but yeah, you don't even know what you did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the verbal portion of it. Now, I had kids before I met the individual, prior to marrying him, because we eventually got married. So, he enjoyed the children, loved being around them, the whole bit. But then after, the children became a problem.
Wow.
So, and then the physical portion, they do things, whatever they'll trip you, push you, and it's always from behind. It's like they get kicks out of doing whatever it is from behind. You don't see it coming, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. It's like a sneak attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And was there isolation also from your family? Because I've heard that time and time again where there's an isolation. So they're really the ones that you look to because you've alienated people around you.
So you have no one now.
That's right.
You have no one. Oh, I went through all of that. Yeah, and I had family members that would call, and they said that he would answer the phone. Oh, I'll give her the message. Never got it.
Never did.
Never got it. Never got it.
Wow.
And it got to the point where I would turn. Well, I grew angry, wondering why my family wouldn't reach out to me, especially after.
So you were angry at them, and they were angry at you.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, meanwhile, he's sitting back enjoying it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? He's knowing why all of that was happening, but no one else did.
Right.
But my kids did.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Because they had a really an inside view of what was going on. Yeah.
And I was told later that they did mention it to outside family members, and those were wondering why is she still there with this man?
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
So what's wrong with her? So alienation, yes.
That's a big part of that manipulation, and we were talking about off camera. They seem to be master manipulators, like you said. I love the fact that you said it's like they have a manuscript because they operate in the same way. And I wonder if it's is it a learned behavior?
It definitely is.
Yeah,
yes. It is.
Yeah. Is it something they've seen it within their lives, and they just kind of perpetuate
continue on with the cycle. And unfortunately, I was told that he was a product of that environment.
Yeah. Right.
So, and his family never got help. But so now, as an adult,
the
he
cycle
continued.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. And when you said your family, when they kind of knew something was going on, they were asking, well, why are you still there? And I'll be honest with you, when I had Michelle Medina on, and we were talking about this, I said, I used to think, like, why are you still there? But until I read her book and then talked to her, I kind of I knew.
You understood it.
I understood
more
it
as to
more.
why
Exactly.
she never removed herself from
That's
that.
right. So why would you stay in this abusive relationship?
Here I am thinking that I was in love. Well, I was. I did love the individual.
Right, of course. Yeah, you married him.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I'm like, okay, this isn't the same person that I married. You just switched up on me.
Right.
So, and I always I had hope that it would work.
Or you could fix them.
Oh. And I could fix them.
Right, okay.
That wasn't the case.
Right.
Because an individual they have to want to help themselves.
Absolutely. They have to see a problem, right?
Right. Oh, and there was the problem was with me.
Right.
According to him.
Right.
So now I'm like, and we had one session counseling.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, but he
Okay.
refused to go again. And did I go? No. I was told, Nicole, well, you should have continue to come in, but that would have been a problem. Where you going? You get the constant calls. Why aren't you answering your phone? It must be another man.
Right.
Or woman.
Right.
I heard everything.
Right. You heard it. Yeah, I'm sure. Wow.
And so I would just just stay put and how can I say, did my wifely duties. Because if I didn't, it would be an argument.
Right.
Coming in from work or just going to the grocery store. A quick trip to the grocery store turned out to one big, verbal, then which it became physical. And I'm like, for what?
Right.
And again, yes, people wondered why.
Right.
Mainly my children.
Right.
So you feel, not you feel, but I felt as if I let them down.
Yeah.
In a huge way.
Right. Yeah.
Because I could have just turned, but it's easier said than done.
That's
because
right.
I had one by him at the time.
Right.
So that made it harder for me to walk away because I wanted the whole family thing to work out.
Exactly. Right.
So, but whatever. I'm here.
That's right.
I made the right decision eventually.
That's right. Yeah. Because like when you think about it, the verbal abuse, people think it's not a physical thing, but it's just as damaging.
Oh, yeah.
But then when you get that first
blow,
right? What goes through a woman's mind, and it could be a man? What goes through your mind when that happens?
At that point, fear. You become fearful.
Right.
And if it's just yourself, it's easier to deal with it. But again, when you have children involved,
it changes the whole game, doesn't it?
The whole dynamics of
Yeah,
it.
it really does.
So
wow.
There's fear, the capturing phase. Then you have the fearful phase. It's a lot of phases, and they know. They do it step by step,
right,
in that order. Because if it's not properly executed in that order,
right,
they don't win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. There's an out for the person they're abusing, right? Wow. Oh my goodness. So when did you finally make a decision to say, you know what, enough is enough? And I always hear from women that they have to develop a plan of action.
My plan didn't work out
the
way I wanted it to because actually I had called my oldest daughter and told her that I was going for an interview for a second job.
Okay.
A part-time position. I said that money I was going to save and we were going to leave.
Right, because finances is a big part of it too.
Definitely.
Right.
And it's a huge part of it. So I never made it to that interview.
Oh.
Because while I was at work, I can't even, the room, I didn't feel well. Like, it was something going on, but I couldn't pinpoint it. But and I was like, I'm just going to go home. But I went home, and that same weekend, I ended up in the ER.
Wow.
Now, when I got there, well, I thought they were just going to do whatever, what do they do? What they call it, triage you and whatever.
Right, yeah.
It was just a little common cold, whatever.
Assess what's going on, right?
And then send you home.
Yep, right.
No.
Wow.
ER physician came and said, I regret to inform you that there's a mass at the rear of your brain. Now.
You weren't expecting that.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Not at all. The thing is, there was an incident that had occurred in the house sometime before I had visited the ER, and I didn't visit the ER
at that time.
Directly after that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So nothing's documented that's or he's the cause of it.
Wow.
But they said it was there, and what happened, it grew at a rate, and by the time it started to affect me, I was lucky to even walk into the hospital.
Wow.
A mass was resting on my main artery. Now, they questioned me, but he was present in the room, which I was told later that he shouldn't have been present because I would have been able to, like, speak freely as to what.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I know that I remember going to the doctor, and my husband, you know, he came with me to the doctor, and for some reason I remember a question, you know, is this okay for him to be here, or something like that. I don't know if the rules changed, but they just want to make sure that if you are in this situation, right, that, you know, they can be out of the room. So they didn't.
I don't recall him ever presenting that question.
That's right, yeah.
And this individual sat and he stared me down.
Right.
And they said, see, Nicole, that shouldn't have happened. That's where it went wrong from the very beginning.
Wow.
And his questions were, you know, where did you fall? Did you get hit? And I'm like, no. And he's like,
So you couldn't even be truthful with what was going on.
I could have, but then
you would have suffered the repercussions of that.
And I'm of course now thinking like my children.
Yeah, of course.
Because he has to go back home.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So,
that's right.
Whatever I went through with the surgery, thank God I'm here.
Thank God. Praise the Lord.
Yes. We could jump for joy.
Yeah, exactly.
But and after the surgery, again, the alienation portion of it continued on his behalf. Yeah, because my family came over to visit me, check on me. Oh, I don't want your family here. And it got to the point where I think he had phoned my mom and said, I'm leaving Nikki. And she's like, what are you talking about? She just had brain surgery. And it was like, oh, I don't need you now to become a citizen, is what he had said. And and my daughter, she overheard, she said she heard the yelling back and forth. But meanwhile, my neurosurgeon was like, whatever you do, make sure your mom stays calm.
Yeah.
And she said, my mother, she just got home two days ago and you're arguing with her already.
Right.
Because she said I could have experienced seizures or whatever. Never happened. God is good.
Yes.
And he was like, oh, the doctors didn't dig deep enough. You know, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and
so here you are recovering.
Exactly.
And this is what that's major surgery, right?
Oh, major.
Right, okay.
And I had to learn to do everything all over again.
Did you really?
Yeah, my children helped, and he wouldn't. They fed me, bathed me. Oh, I didn't know I would have had to, you know,
to
do stuff like this at this age. Oh, you know, and I'm like, oh.
My.
Yeah, and that's, to answer your question, that is when I said, oh, this guy has to go.
Right.
And I turned to him and I looked, after he said the part, the doctors didn't dig deep enough. Well, excuse me? So it took time to register, and I'm like, what did you just say?
Right.
Because I was delayed. I say pause. I was on pause. You would have to. So I'm looking, I'm like, what? And I'm like, you know what? I love myself more than I love you.
Oh.
And at around about the same time, he said, your children have to go because they helped me. You know what I mean?
Of course, they were the only ones helping you.
That's it.
Right.
So I said, you know what? You have to go, buddy.
Wow.
And that's around, well, that is the time when I said, enough. I have to live my life.
Wow. And he just agreed to
Well,
leave?
the thing is, at that time, I had an order of protection, refrained from.
Okay.
And it was still valid. So when, I guess he saw that I was serious.
Okay.
And was like, you know what, let me just go before this woman calls the cops on me or children.
Okay, at that point, right.
Yeah. And he left, yeah. Took a couple of garbage bags and called later, oh, you know, I'm sorry, can I come back? And I was like, nope.
Wow. So each time an incident would happen, because I know this is a pattern also,
Apologies.
you get a gift or you get, right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep. Oh, I bought you this.
I bought you
that.
this, right.
So it's like, no, so
Right.
you must do what I say you do, or act a certain way, or dress a certain way. That's another thing. Or eat, or don't eat. There was times when I would go to the kitchen. Oh, you're going back to the kitchen. What are you getting?
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like you live this restricted lifestyle. For what?
Wow. And then finally enough is enough. And, you know, and you are blessed enough to be able to have gotten out of that situation, because we know that sometimes it doesn't end up that way. It goes the other way.
Oh, yeah.
It goes the other way. And I was talking to one of my friends a couple of weeks ago, and she was describing her daughter's situation with her now ex-husband, and it wasn't physical, but it was this emotional, mental, psychological abuse. And it impacts, and this is a woman who, you know, like we mostly all are, a strong woman. And she couldn't believe that her daughter, and she didn't tell her mother, but she couldn't believe that her daughter was going through this, you know, because you just don't.
A lot of people, you know, have said that to me. Oh, you know, Nick, like, you're strong.
Right.
Even elementary school. Yes, I kid you not. And like on Facebook, you know, you see meet everybody, reunite with everyone.
Right.
Like, Nick, like you didn't take too much when you were in school.
Right.
I don't understand. Like, this isn't you.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you know what? It happens to the best of us.
It happens to the best. Do you think? I want to talk about your book, the 5th book, in reference to this. But for young women out there who are, you know, dating, meeting people, what would you say for them to kind of look out for in the beginning, looking back at your younger self?
Quick moves from him.
Okay.
Because they love to rush into a relationship or a marriage.
Okay.
There's a lot of signs, but I would say the quick movements from the other party.
Okay. Right.
Because that was one of my signs.
Right. But
I chose to.
But you looked at it. I as a young woman, you oh, okay, this guy must want me. He must love me. Right.
All of the above, and that wasn't the case. It was
he
just what it when he wasn't.
Right. Exactly.
And got it.
Right. Exactly. So that's tricky for a young person to kind of navigate, because they really think that this person, and the jealousy. That's another one.
Jealousy and competitiveness, because you don't compete with your partner.
No, you don't.
And that was another thing.
Wow.
You know, now when you said young, I was in my early 30s when I met this individual. So, and
that's young.
Thank you. being that I didn't, like, my previous relationship wasn't the best. I had children prior to meeting him.
Right.
And then I didn't have a relationship with my father. So,
okay,
what was I to go by?
Right.
As to.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Think him as a real man,
right,
or a man that is worthy of my friendship.
Right, exactly.
Friendship, because it needs to start out as a friendship.
I 100% agree. So that's difficult. So, I mean, in the first book, you talk about the absentee father. I mean, we could have a whole show talking about that, because that impacts, like you said, what's your example? You know, I think it's hard for a woman to have examples, or to know what it looks like to be in a positive relationship. You know, that's a serious conversation. Yes, it really is. It does impact the way you view, you know, men in general.
A man or the reason why I say a man or a male, the difference. Huge difference.
Right.
This individual wasn't a man.
No.
And it did throw it back in my face. Well, you know, you weren't raised by your father, so, like, who are you to even judge me, or, like, you know, he would belittle me in so many ways because of that. Right.
He knew
Yep.
what he could do.
How he could go about
exactly
manipulating me. Yeah. So
how does this impact the children? You mentioned it a little bit, but I know there's, you know, we talked a little bit about the court system and you know, law enforcement and all of that. How does that kind of, because you have children with this individual, there's a lot of things that need to be sorted out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, when you have other children. Okay, first of all, the last, I have 5 children in total, and the first 3 aren't his.
Right.
So, over the years, there's been a custody battle, and unfortunately, a judge granted him temporary sole residential custody. So now the first 3 children haven't seen their siblings in like 2 years.
Wow.
So
What does that mean? Sole resident. So in other words, visitation. There's no visitation. Like, how does that work?
Well, for me, I have visitation.
Okay.
And it's been ordered that it's supervised.
Wow.
Now, reason being, I was accused of being or having a mental illness, which isn't the case.
Right.
So they ordered the judge ordered supervised visitation.
And did that stem back from your brain surgery? Right.
Yep. Now, again, there's no documentation in this
of
world.
that. Right.
Exactly. But because I guess money talks and other things walk.
Right.
That's the reason why that happened. But the other children and or family members haven't seen the little guys in a while.
Wow.
And there's no law stating that they can.
Wow.
So we have a lot of work to do.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And it's, it is challenging working within, that system, because people have their own agendas.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's very difficult. As far as law enforcement, I know, I was just saying to you before, going into a situation as a police officer to that is challenging, I would think, because you're dealing with someone's relationship, but you have to also, protect them as well. So, I mean, that is challenging.
It is, and I've spoken to several officers, and they said that they've actually, they've been beaten by the other partner.
Wow.
Trying to, break them up, or just, if they've gone in to arrest the other person, the woman would actually beat them.
Wow.
Come from behind and attack them, leave them alone. So they say, they would like to, if the officer is trained properly, that's the thing.
That's a big thing too, right?
They'll know how to go about the situation and hopefully extract as much information from the woman.
Right.
Because a lot of women don't tell the truth as to what they've experienced.
They're afraid. Right.
That was my case.
Right.
Because they've been in my house many times.
Right.
And, is everything okay? Or they'll come, is everything okay? And I'll say, yeah. Meanwhile, the kids looking at me like, Mommy, are you crazy?
Right. Right. Exactly.
This man just smacked the mess out of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, like I said, if the officers are trained properly, they would separate the two and question that woman thoroughly.
Okay.
Just no in and out type thing.
Right. Yeah.
Because you know the woman is
in distress, right?
In distress, the whole bit. So and then you have CPS.
Oh, right.
Yes. See how my voice dropped.
I know.
Now, I mean, like I said, we have a lot of work to do.
Right.
The system.
Right. Exactly.
Has failed me several times.
Yeah.
But.
Right. A lot of different agencies involved, with seemingly not a lot of solutions. I mean, the order of protection, the woman, Michelle Medina, she was talking about the order of protection, and she said it really, it helped.
It can work.
She said it did help. And I was a little surprised to hear that because, you watch on TV, they have order of protection, doesn't mean anything. But, the cops come. There's consequences for that person who it's against.
If you share what happened.
Okay.
As to why you even phoned them. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you don't, then it is just a piece of paper.
All right. So you have to let them know.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
You have to.
Right. So, really quick, let's talk a little bit about, book number 5. And now, are these loosely based on your life?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And I'm not ashamed to say it.
Okay. All right. So number 5 really talks about,
my experience.
Your experience with domestic violence.
Yes.
Okay, okay. And how, so what do you hope when people read this book, what do you hope that they get out of this book?
I hope they get a lot out of it, especially the signs
Right.
that I've shared, because there will be signs.
Right, right,
And they are not to be ignored.
right. Yeah, and you just have to be willing to recognize them. One of the things also I wanted to let everybody know is about your website. On your website, you not only share the signs and, like I said, the phases of domestic violence, but you also give great resources. And I love that. I love that. Where do you go to get help? What do you do? And, just to talk about that just a little bit more, how did you get help? Did you go through counseling? What was your support system like after you got out of this relationship?
Well, I did counseling, yes, in the very beginning. And because I was still recovering from the surgery,
right,
and I didn't drive myself around as much as I wanted to. I had to rely on my children or family members. My mom would come out from her town, and I didn't. And being an independent, strong woman that I am, I didn't want that.
Okay.
So what I did was, I read a lot. I prayed. I exercised.
Okay.
I did a lot. Meditated. I listened to music.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, I did counseling and everything, but and I was like, I can. I don't want to say I can do it on. I did it on my own because I didn't.
Right. Right.
But it was a lot. Having 5 children and recovering from surgery. It was a lot. And then I wanted to get back to work. I was concerned about the house, having to make the mortgage payment. Actually, I went back to work I went back to work and I forced myself to go back to work. And I actually fell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because my gait was still off. Like I said, I pushed myself a lot.
Yeah.
I think I pushed myself too much, but I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. 5 babies.
Yeah, and then my daughter, she dropped out of college and started working. She actually was a sole provider at one point.
At one point, wow.
Yeah, so it was rough.
So you use different tools to kind of help you through it. It wasn't one thing.
Nope.
Right. Yeah.
And it was several different organizations I met with or had spoken to regarding my situation.
Okay.
They all helped in their own way, They each contributed whatever.
Different things.
Yeah.
Right.
But once again, I just think it's like I didn't have the funds to travel to and fro.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I had my children to take care of, feed, bills. So whatever helped, it helped.
Right. So where can people purchase the Venomous Minds Series books?
You can go online,
Amazon,
the website,
right?
Of course.
And I wanted to show your contact information too. And while we're showing your contact information, do you have any upcoming events? Are you going to be doing anything in reference to the Venomous Minds series? You have a lot of followers on Facebook, so there's a lot of people who are are really committed to the work that you do.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. As far as any future events, none. But who knows what the future holds.
That's right. Do you do any speaking or anything like that?
I haven't done any lately.
Okay.
But I do.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Because it's reading the books is such a release for a lot of people because. And as I was saying before, it's for people who have gone through it, but it's also for people who may have not gone through it, because you get a better understanding and more appreciation for what individuals go through. And I think that is equally important because people need to build an understanding and an empathy and for others. So again, I thank you. You are a blessing. You are really a blessing. I really just admire your courage to be able to share your story with individuals because it's not easy.
Not at all.
Does it serve as therapeutic for you?
It does.
Yeah.
It has, and it continues to.
Yeah, definitely. So, Nicole, I want to thank you so much for being here. Remember, you can, there's contact information, so you can definitely make sure that you purchase Nicole's books, her Venomous Minds Series. The last book talks about the topic that we were really, focusing on today. And again, I just want to say thank you for all the work that you do.
You.
And thank you for being a guest on Conversations with Verdel Jones.
It's my pleasure.
So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for watching us, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night.